A very good morning from the French Riviera as we welcome you for the second of three races this weekend. The first round of the E4 Championship for 2025, presented, of course, by WSK Promotion. Well, it's a slightly overcast yet warm morning at the world-class Paul Ricard circuit, the home of the French Grand Prix on 11 occasions from 1971 through to 2022. Yesterday, it was the boy from Brazil, Gabriel Gomez, who took victory in the first of 9 races, this 3-round challenge series. Gabriel Gomez, the centre of your screen, lines up on grid 3 for the second of 3 races this weekend. It's Ki Nakamura, who again starts on grid 1. Alongside is the Dutchman, Rino Frankot. Yesterday's race winner, Gabriel Gomez, out of 3. Sebastian, the American, P4, finished third yesterday. Alexander Bondarev, the top rookie, is alongside Maximilian Popov for Van Amersfoort Racing out of grid 6. Kabir Anurag, a super drive from the Singaporean, home to 4th yesterday. Alex Powell, who crashed out with Ania Frey yesterday. They start 8th, 10th on the grid respectively this morning, split by Newman Chi. Andrea Kostic into P7 yesterday, starts grid 11 alongside the driver from Bangalore in India for the German team, Ari Bansal. Alexander Savinkov, Luca Vistoriano for Real Racing, Bart Harrison, the Englishman, Dante Vinci, the Australian, Alexander Ruta on the rookie podium yesterday, and Theo Schrott from Argentina for Jensen Motorsport out of grid 18. Gael Bag, a good drive for the Israeli from Tel Aviv yesterday, came home 14th, starts 19th, alongside Salim Hanna, who stormed to 10th from grid 27 in race 1. Emily Cotti, Bader Al-Solati, Evan Michelini for the first of the Antonelli Motorsport cars, and Ludovico Busso, the Sicilian, for the Viola Formula Racing team. Bennett Gaspar for the Zengo Motorsport team. Abdullah Kamal, who had a great debut yesterday, the Saudi. Also for Antonelli Motorsport, Andre Rodriguez, Peyton Westcott, the 2 drivers from the United States of America, and Ginevra Panseri on debut in the E4, the Euro Series, the 3rd Antonelli Motorsport car. She starts out of grid 29. Nice to have your company this morning as you join us for the second of 3 races, the 3-round championship, 9-race series. First one in 2023 by the McLaren Junior, Ugo Ugochukwu. Last year it was Akshay Bora, also ironically from New York in the United States of America. Both drivers from New York winning the first 2 editions of this series. Sebastian Weldon, also from the US, the first American driver, the first North American driver, I should say. That is the Gainbridge Andretti Jr. out of grid 4. But Ki Nakamura starts pole position once again here this morning at Paul Ricard. Slightly overcast. There were a few drops of rain threatening to fall as Rino Frankot from grid 2 leads Ki Nakamura away on the formation lap. He's been a revelation. Second year in Formula 4 racing. Rino Frankot racing in various F4 series around the world. Starts grid 2, the sole entry for the German PHM racing team on the formation lap for the second of 3 races here this weekend. Nice to have your company wherever you're watching us live around the world at arguably the finest motorsport complex in the European continent. This is Le Castellet, Paul Ricard, in the south of France, hosting the French Formula 1 Grand Prix for the first time way back in 1971. As you look at Salim Hanna go through. In car 88, Emily Cotti had a great drive yesterday. This is Andrea Kostic in car 4. Yes, the last time that the French Grand Prix was raced here, Max took the victory 3 years ago in 2022 as Kabir Anurag makes his way down the Mistral Straight. I'll get that right. If you did catch our coverage yesterday, I have to put my hand up. It's not just drivers who make errors. The Mulsanne Straight, incorrectly referred to, that's about 700 kilometres to the north, of course, at the famous Le Mans circuit. It is the Mistral Straight, which is 1.8 kilometres long. The mainstay of this world-famous circuit, that is the top of the Mistral Straight, not the Mulsanne. Have I apologised enough for that faux pas yesterday? The Mulsanne is at Le Mans. This is Paul Ricard. This is at Seniors Corner at the end of the Mistral Straight, 1.8 kilometres long. using the chicane again this weekend. Let's hope in future we can go straight through and go more than 1 mile straight up to the seniors curve as it was originally intended. The track almost abandoned in the late 1990s before Mr. Eggleston himself rocked up and put a bucket load of French francs, as it was, into this circuit, the HTTT, the high-tech test track. It is world-class, featuring a world-class FIA kart racing circuit as well. Lake where you are often able to see jet skis on the lake. A magnificent party from GT Sport on the rooftop terrace on the top of the Paul Ricard pit lane last evening. And the nearby aerodrome capable of landing 737 jets here. A few Falcon and Dassaults, Falcon 900s landing on the nearby runway overnight over the weekend as Alexander Bondarev in car 27 makes his way around to start on grid 5. The second of 3 races here this weekend. Ken Nakamura checks the left side mirror. Third in last year's series. Starts pole position. Gabriel Gomez starts P3 again. He jumped both Ken and Sebastian off the start yesterday. Ken will be trying to ensure that does not happen, but now has to worry about the Dutchman. Reno Frankot in 69 for the PHM racing team. 29 cars on the grid on a sultry summer's morning here in the magnificent French Riviera, approximately halfway between Marseille and Nice. In motor racing geographical terms, it's about 2 hours from the most famous Grand Prix circuit in the world, the streets of Monte Carlo, where the Monaco Grand Prix has been raced since over a century ago. The second of 3 races here this weekend. The visor still open on Ken Nakamura-Berta's bell helmet. Now it goes down. We wait for the green flag at the back of the grid for the second of 3 races here this weekend. The E4 Championship at Paul Ricard on the French Riviera. Keen to the right of your screen, Reno to the left. The 5 red lights here on Sunday morning in the south of France. We race. Once again, a great getaway from Arnold Ag in the middle of the circuit. Gomez down the inside. Gomez from P3 goes through to P2. Ken Nakamura-Berta, no problem for the Japanese star. He leads as the field raced down into the first few corners, the bottom of the circuit for the first time here this morning. Savinkov makes his way around. He's already got by the Indian Adi Banchel. There's Sebastian Weldon on the outside of Alexander Bondarev. Lock up just ahead. Reno Frankot back to third, gets a wide line on the back of Gomez, who's already through into position 2. We're watching for Alex Powell and Andy Afray, the Swiss and Jamaican drivers who came to grief in the early stages of race 1 yesterday. And they're going straight through, shortcutting the circuit. Andy Afray, which is not permitted, has to go around the bollard, which he did not do. We'll keep an eye on that from race control as Gomez just shadows the back of Ken Nakamura-Berta as the chicane right in the middle of the Mistral back straight for the first time. Kostic, and again Frey's off the road. He's had a messy start. This time he does do the right thing. Gets back on track, Andy Afray, still inside the top 10. There's Alex Powell just ahead, and another super start from Kabir Anurag, who's through to position 7. Baded Al-Salati goes up the inside, the Qatari 2023 Qatar Kart Racing National Champion. First year in European competition for the Jensen Motorsport team, representing the Qatar Motorsports Federation. Car 26 is ahead of Cotti, Albag, the R-Race duo. Busso, Michelini, Bansal, who's fallen back to 23rd place. Salim Hanna trying to make his way through, the Colombian in car 88, but out front it is his Prema Racing teammate. Ken Nakamura-Berta leads the way. Luca Vistoriano having a look in the background, trying to go by the Englishman Bart Harrison, but at the end of lap 1, it is K&B who takes the lead. Nakamura-Berta in 51 leads across the line for the first time. The gap 1 second back to the South American, and Reno Frankot with Sebastian behind in 4th place. Bondarev, Popov, Anurag, G, Powell, and Andy Afray in P10. A clean start for the second race of the weekend. Look at the lead already from Ken Nakamura-Berta. Anurag, Numanchi, Alex Powell. And a gap back to Eni Afray. There's Kostic. Savinkov and Salim Hanna, who shortcuts the chicane again. Won't be the first time we've seen that this weekend. And well, you really cannot blame the drivers when there is more runoff than you'll find at a Tesco car park here at the magnificent HTT. And little consequence, if we're honest, often for going straight ahead. One of the Viola Formula Racing drivers in trouble. You saw it looked to be Ludovico Busso minus most of the front wing. The Sicilian currently in 19th place. Anurag with Numanchi, who does do the right thing, locks up, goes deep, turns in, takes the corner. And he's now vulnerable to Alex Powell. DNF yesterday, and now the Jamaican on the outside of the driver who won at Monza in the Italian Series. Powell around the outside for the RAce GP team, trying to get the 41 car to turn in. Numanchi just ahead. Powell with the wide line, on the rubber line, on the second lap here this morning. A clean start, Kin Nakamura-Berta, 1 second dead. There's Weldon on the back of the Dutchman, Reno Frankot. Off the podium at the moment is the Andretti Jr. A good start to the series yesterday for the American, the top North American. Of course, the winner was the South American, Gabriel Gomez. P3 in the first of 9 races. As you look at Alex Powell, the Mercedes AMG Jr., who lines up Numanchi, who'll be vulnerable. Coming onto the straight out of the final corner, tries to keep the car straight. Slight oversteer from virtually all of these cars. Trying to get the front end to turn, balancing the rear end. And Reno Frankot gets the slipstream from Gomez. Powell this time looks at the back of Numanchi, can't do it down into turn 1. This is race 2 of 3 here this weekend. Powell going on through. A fabulous weekend last weekend in Tuscany in Italy, the Italian Championship, where he took 2 victories. The other going to Kin Nakamura-Berta, who is leading the most competitive junior car racing series in the world. The 12th edition of the Italian F4 Championship. If you're just joining us, this is not that. This is the 3-round challenge series. It is the E4 Championship. As Kabira Anurag, the Asian driver, goes through. The Alpine F1 Academy Junior, P7 in 19. The 3-round challenge series for the F4 cars. Effectively the de facto European series. Here this morning at Paul Ricard in the south of France. Mugello in mid-September. And at the home of the Italian Formula One Grand Prix, the Cathedral of Speed, on the last weekend of October. That's Monza for the 3rd edition of the Euro Series, the E4 Championship, which has twice been won by drivers from New York in the United States of America. There's Bondarev, right on the back. He's Max Popov, Top Thun Amersfoort Racing Team driver. Looking good here this morning, gets the car to turn in early, rides the ripple strip. Goes in deep though. Bondarev just ahead, the Williams F1 Academy Junior. There's the Mercedes F1 Academy Junior. Alex Powell on the back of Numanchi. Both drivers who have won outright in the Italian series, as has Kin Nakamura-Berta, who was 3rd in the E4 Championship in 2024. Weldon, Bondarev, Popov, Anurag. And it's G. This is Powell in 41. Gomez with a 2:08.179 goes fastest. The gap just over 1 second though. Numanchi eclipsed that though. An 07.9. Bondarev still the top rookie. Numanchi the second of the new drivers in the series. Drivers with less than 3 rounds experience in F4 or car racing for that matter. Bondarev, first rookie, second is Chi, and third Salim Hanna. Anurag, second year for the Asian driver. Just missed the podium yesterday. He sits in behind Popov. Head of Anurag and Chi onto the Mistral back straight on this lap 3. A clean start here for the second of 3 races here this morning. The gap just over 1 second. Kin Nakamura-Berta, who had to follow home the South American. Gabriel Gomez took victory yesterday, runs P2. Frankot, Weldon, Bondarev, Popov. And this is Kabir Anurag. the top end of the Mistral Straight into the seniors curve. The circuit with so much history. Built the same year that man landed on the moon, 1969, by the French industrialist, Monsieur Paul Ricard, and thus the name. And as we mentioned just a few moments ago, bought by Bernie in the late 1990s, where the track was almost abandoned. It is a world-class facility. As you look at Enya Frey from Switzerland, car 20 in P10, ahead of Kostic, Hunter, and his Jensen Motorsport teammate Bart Harrison, just coming down the hill in the background. The Englishman, who did have a podium at Monza, P3 in the Italian series, ahead of Vistoriano and Dante Vinci in P15. One-tenth of a second. Gabriel Gomez takes out of Nakamura Berta that time. Still Newman Chi, fastest on the circuit. Newman drones in on the back of Kabir Anurag, the two Asian drivers, 8th and 7th respectively. Newman in 28, Kabir in 19. Down the bottom of the hill, this 5.8 kilometre circuit. As we approach 1/3 race distance, turns in aggressively. Does Alexander Bondarev, a little bit of a rear end slide. Important to get the car to turn in. And also manage the 8 tyres from the outset of qualifying and the 3 30-minute races. 90 minutes of racing yesterday, 16 laps, 93 kilometres completed. If we stay green, and it's looking good so far for both races 2 and 3, we will get to within 3 laps of a full Formula One Grand Prix distance here this weekend. 93 kilometres race yesterday. We are on track for that again here this morning. If we repeat that this evening, we'll get close to 300 kilometres, around about 280. 3 laps off the distance that Max raced when he took victory the final time that the French Formula One Grand Prix was held here at the circuit. Nakamura Berta from Gomez. This is Reno Francot. Sebastian Weldon just shadowing the Dutchman. Trying to keep the cars as straight as possible. Get the front to turn in. As you see Popov run off the road. Max Popov losing valuable ground. End momentum. He's dropped off the back of Bondarev and now comes under attack from Kabir Anurag. Does nicely to hold on to it. It was a costly error though, slight error, as Sebastian launches down the inside. Reno Francot slams the door closed on the Andretti Jr., who took 4 victories last year on the road to Indy, NOLA Motorsports Park, New Orleans in Mississippi, Virginia International Raceway, and of course at Road Atlanta, and a victory in the Formula 4 European United Arab Emirates Series, I should say. As we see, Alex Powell has now finally got through on Newman Chi, up into position 8. Chi tries to fight back. They're side by side as they go down into the field corner. Le Virage du Camp, the hotel corner, and then climb from the bottom of the circuit up the 1.8 kilometre Mistral Straight. The mainstay, the backbone of this 5.8 kilometre circuit. There's Weldon. Tries to fire it up again and take P3 away from the Dutchman, Reno Francot. Anurag, meanwhile, on the back of Max Popov. Powell has already broken clear just slightly of Newman Chi. And Enya Frey, after a tough start, well, the Swiss driver is still there in car 20 in P10. Gomez has brought the gap down, though, to 0.7 of a second. Visibly, it is closer as they go up into the seniors curve. There's Francot, Weldon, Bondarev, the top rookie, Popov, Anurag, Enya Frey now on the inside of Newman Chi. They go wheel to wheel at over 200 kilometres an hour. The Chinese and Swiss drivers, Newman Chi on the outside, dives down the inside. Frey, nicely done. Enya Frey goes on through and takes Newman Chi, the Chinese driver, the second rookie, is now 10th outright. Frey up to P9, nicely done. The Swiss driver for the Swiss team in the south of France And Efrain car 20 now through to 9. This is Anurag on the back of Max Popov, who still holds P6 for Van Amersfoort Racing. Gomez, a fastest lap last time around in 07.5. He goes faster again. You can look and see how close the gap is. Officially 0.4 of a second. As Newman Chi, we're being told by race control, has pulled down into pit lane. Newman Chi has pulled into the pits. Gomez, the gap was 1.2 seconds. It is barely 3 car lengths as they go down through the hotel corner. A slight bump as the front right comes off the ground. The car's straight as possible. Through the left-hander onto the Mistral straight. Gomez close enough to get the slipstream. King Nakamura had to follow the South American home yesterday. He's defending for his life as they go up into the chicane. Watch Gomez fire it down the inside. Reno Francot in the background, hoping, praying they both come together or at least cost each other time. Nakamura holds off yesterday's race when it goes in deep though. Goes in deep, does very well to hold on to a bit. He'll be vulnerable. Watch him go to his right, to your left, as they go up into the seniors curve. Francot in the background is catching the both of them. Weldon trying to drag himself into this battle. They go wheel to wheel through the seniors corner. What a move! Gomez around the outside. Nakamura on the inside though. Puts the 51 car in the middle of the circuit. Francot is catching the leading duo. He's right there. Off the road goes Nakamura. Grinds the ripple strip Tony Hawk style. Incredibly holds on to P1. Here comes the Dutchman. Well, it's a date race yesterday, but it is kicking off as we go into the second half of the second of 3 races here this weekend. The Italian Championship Series leader in P1 under attack, as is Gomez now from Reno Francot. Weldon, Bondarev. So the drivers from Japan, Brazil and the Netherlands, 1, 2, 3. There's Sebastian from Florida on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. Into turn 1, incredibly, Kin Nakamura is in P1. Gomez with the speed here this morning, yesterday's race winner. Anurag still behind Popov and Powell catching both those two drivers. Wide line from Francot. The Dutchman attacks. There's Bondarev, P5. Almost identical lines from the leading two, slightly wider from Reno Francot. Trying not to burn these tyres here this morning. Remember, they've got 8 tyres for the duration of the weekend as the clouds in the background hover overhead, getting slightly darker on a humid, sultry morning here on the French Riviera. Nakamura glances at the left side mirror. Watch Gomez at the last possible moment. Nakamura is awake to it, and Francot will get a fabulous run as they go up to the highest part of the circuit. He'll get the slipstream from both the Brazilian and Japanese drivers. Prema, Us Racing, PHM, 1, 2 and 3, and the Andretti Jr. in the background is catching all 3 of them. Into Senior's curve, Gomez makes 78 large in the mirrors of Nakamura. Francot to attack, Francot down the inside. That gives Nakamura slight breathing space. Francot again. Francot goes through, takes yesterday's race winner for P2. Jan met die banaan. The Dutchman goes through to second place. Weldon P4. Nakamura incredibly still is in position 1. Francot on the charge is the Dutchman. The sole entry for the PHM racing team now sets off after the race leader, Sebastian, down the inside. How did he not make contact? The North American on the back of the South American. 4th, 3rd, with Bondarev behind the top rookie. Now gets the tow from his Prema Racing teammate, their Prema Racing teammate, Nakamura in P1, 0.6 of a second ahead of Reno Francot. Fabulous race here this morning. The second of 3 races this weekend, the first of 3 rounds, the 2025 E4 Championship, the European Series, presented for the 3rd year by WSK Promotion. And the driver who leads the Italian Series, the English-born Slovakian Japanese, for the team from Vicenza. Not too far from Venice in the north of Italy, P1. Popov goes through the top VAR driver. Car 3 ahead of Arnoldag and Alex Powell. Nakamura was defending into the chicane a few moments ago from yesterday's race winner, but now it's the Dutchman who gets large. Car 69 on the back of 51. 78 is Gomez, Weldon, Bondarev, Popov, Arnoldag, Powell, Frey. Andrea Kostic, meanwhile, has worked his way back into the top 10. The Serbian ahead of Harrison, and the second rookie is the Australian Dante Vinci, who holds off Salim Hanna a place behind. Popov, car 3 for Van Amersfoort Racing. Second year in Formula 4 racing for Maximilian. Also Kabir Arnoldag just behind, turns in early. Kabir Arnoldag for US Racing behind the VAR driver. There's Bondarev, the Ukrainian, the Williams F1 Junior just ahead. And here comes Alex Powell, who had a crash yesterday with Frey, or Frey had a crash with Powell, whichever way you'd like to read it. Regardless, they both DNF'd. There's Powell on the back of Arnoldag, who may have a look down the inside into the point corner. Powell, the American-born Jamaican, the Mercedes Junior, now gets the tow from the Alpine F1 Academy Junior. Ken Nakamura incredibly somehow still holds the race lead. Gomez still the fastest on the circuit. There's Frey in the background. Enya up into P9. Powell just half a second ahead. This is Reno Francot, 69. 3 car lengths. 3 car lengths, I should say, if that. Behind King Nakamura, Gabriel Gomez, speaking of karting, third for the CRG Racing Team, the 2023 World Championships. And King Nakamura, 2021 World Kart Racing Champion in Campillos in the south of Spain for the Forza Racing Team back in 2021. Weldon, Bondarev, former WSK Supermaster Series and Champions Cup Kart Racing Champion. Popov, Arnoldag, Powell, Frey, Kostic. Skates under brakes. Goes in deep. Francot gets a good exit and gets the tow as they go up to the highest part of the circuit at just over 230 kilometres an hour, 232, 233, depending on who you speak to, which telemetry you're able to see and who gets the slipstream. Popov is certainly giving that to Kabir Arnoldag, who's still stuck behind the Van Amersfoort Racing driver. And Powell is right there as well. Francot has gone through. Reno Francot, while we were watching the battle for 7th and 8th, the Dutchman in the eerste positie. P1 for Reno Francot. He leads here in the south of France. Nakamura tries to fight back. Watch Francot defend into the point corner, puts the car in the middle of the circuit. Nakamura back to P2. He finished second yesterday to Gomez, who is now looming large in his mirrors. The sole entry for PHM is being driven by Reno Francot, and the driver Van der Netherlands goes P1. Gave up a potential footballing career with PSV Eindhoven in the Netherlands, where he was part of their youth academy, and now leads the European Series. Here at Paul Ricard, Kin Nakamura P2, and Gomez in third place. Francot leads here as they go down to the bottom of the circuit on lap 10. An 07.39 also for Reno Francot. Up the Mistral Straight, and the Dutchman in P1. Gomez now looms large in the back of King Nakamura mirrors, looking at his second place of the weekend. There's Weldon from Bondarev, Popov, Arnoldag, and Alex Powell. Francot leads second-year racing Formula 4, as it is also for both Kin Nakamura Berta and Gabriel Gomez. Reno and Gabriel also racing in the Spanish Series last year. Kin Nakamura Berta leads the Italian Championship. Alex Powell with 2 victories in the Italian Series at Mugello last weekend on the back of Kabir Anurag. Popov and Anurag, they have to look after these tyres now. You've heard that spoken about in motor racing in real terms. Let's break it down for you. Pirelli telling us, unofficially, trying to keep the tyre pressures or temperatures. The temperature's reasonable, the pressures, I'll secretly whisper this to you, around about 1.2 to 1.4 bar. That is hot at the end of the race. In the old terminology, that's around about 18 to 20 PSI. As the cars come in off the grid into pit lane, that's hot. They are the aimed for, predicted or hoped for tyre temperatures. And at the moment, PHM in position 1. Team manager Camilla down on the pit wall, nervously watching on her Dutch driver, the German team, the Italian team manager, being chased by the English-born Slovakian Japanese driver in the south of France. In the E4 Championship, it is like the United Nations racing here on the French Riviera. Reno Francot leads and pulls away. The gap now 9/10 of a second, 5:55, plus 1 lap to race. Sebastian, the second-generation racer, the older brother of Oliver, who's also competing on the road to Indy. There's Ania Frey going through P9 up the Mistral Straight. Again, apologising for yesterday's error. Of course, the Mulsanne is about 700 kilometres north of here in the south of France. Vodnarev checks the mirrors in the background, still Popov trying to get by the Ukrainian, the Williams F1 Junior, but having to defend from the car on your screen, car 19. It's the Singaporean Kabir Anurag. Gomez gets the toe and will attack into the seniors curve. On the outside, Kin Nakamura Berta darts to the inside, puts the car in the middle of the circuit. There's Powell going on through P8 in car 41. Gomez still stuck behind. Nakamura Berta, Ania Frey, great drive. After a ragged start for the Swiss driver, for the Swiss Jensen Motorsport team. Catching up to the back of Powell, who's trying to go through on Kabir Anurag. Reno Francot on your screen. The race leader sideways slightly into Le Virage du Pont, the point corner, the final corner of this magnificent circuit. We'll check the gap. Last time 0.7 out to 1.1. Depending on which sector we take it from. Across the start-finish line, 1.4 seconds. Francot is driving away surely to a victory here this morning. Gomez still trying to attack Nakamura Berta. And Weldon, after 3rd place yesterday, 4th place here this morning. The North American trails the South American. It's the Dutchman in P1. Sideways slightly from Kin Nakamura Berta. Those aforementioned suggested tyre pressures. That might have added half a PSI or so. That's the very slightest of slides there. He went sideways, let's just say that. Kin Nakamura Berta, and in real terms, he's lost 1/10 of a second. On the race leader, Reno Francot, almost into the 06s now. The gap officially 1.430 seconds. Anurag, Popov have fought all race. The top of the Mistral Straight into the seniors curve, past the former base of the former Toyota Formula One team. Now forming at the Winfield Racing Circuit. Winfield Racing Driver School, I should say, where yes, you can drive a genuine Formula One car on this circuit as part of the Winfield Driving School, which also dates back to the same time, approximately, to when the Paul Ricard circuit was built. Former base of the Toyota Formula One Grand Prix team, who now have started, well, just quietly for the moment, a collaboration, as you know, with the Haas Formula One team. That's for the moment. Expecting there to be 3 laps to race here this morning. Reno Francot will check the gap again, 1.3, 1.5. 1.3 out of the final sector across the line. He puts another 10th into the Italian series leader. There's Gomez, who won yesterday. P3 here this morning. Gabriel Gomez from Sao Paulo. The city which has produced so many superstars in the world of racing. Again, sideways from Nakamura Berta. Gomez tries to capitalize, drives it down the inside. Has to stand on the brakes as Nakamura Berta goes off the circuit. Keen Nakamura Berta in trouble, and Reno Francot is driving away. Nakamura Berta holds onto us just down through the third, the hotel chicane. He's been sideways the last few laps. Gomez gets the slipstream up the Mistral straight into the chicane. The gap 1.6 seconds now. Reno Francot just over a minute plus 1 lap to race. Again, Nakamura Berta locks up. Again, he still manages incredibly to hold on to second place. But the question is for how long as he tries to white line it. Gomez is there. Gomez is up the inside. The Italian series leader, he was second yesterday. He's second at the moment. Here comes O Menino do Brasil. The boy from Brazil finally drives on through to position 2. Nakamura Berta tries to fight back. Sebastian in the background. Weldon catching both of them. Again, Nakamura Berta sliding as they come down the hill. Gomez into position 2. Francot has disappeared out of sight. Well, not literally, because there is the Dutchman. He's well over 2 seconds clear. He will likely cross the line just before 30 minutes ticks over, meaning another 2 laps and more time for Weldon to attack. Into the point corner. Weldon in the background on the back of his Prema Racing teammate. Crosses the line, does Reno Francot with 3 seconds remaining. 2 laps remaining here. The fight for the podium, the second, third steps. At the moment, Weldon is not standing on it, but he's got a good chance. Down through turn 3. This is where Nakamura Berta has struggled in the previous laps, and Sebastian knows it. A little bit of breathing space now for Gabriel Gomez for Us Racing. Victory yesterday in race 1. Looking at P2 here this morning again. Nakamura Berta is sideways. Watch Sebastian. He sends it down the inside. Locks up the front right. Does extremely well not to run into the back of his Prema Racing teammate. That's intelligent from Weldon, even if it did potentially cost him a podium. He's still in P4. He's still got a lap and a half to go. 3.3 seconds clear. Reno Francot, the bottom right of your screen, as Max attacks the back of the Williams F1 Academy Junior. Bondarev around the outside. The Ukrainian on the inside will go in deep though. Turns in. What a move! Pop off around the outside. Bondarev is still there. Watch Kabir Anurag. Powell tries to make it 4 wide. The Mercedes-AMG Junior behind the Alpine F1 Junior. Pop-off in P1. Here comes Frey. A fabulous fight in the dying stages of the second race, the E4 Championship. Here this morning at the former home of the French Grand Prix. Pop-off. Kabir has taken all of them. The driver from Sentosa in the south of Singapore has taken Bondarev, has taken Pop-off. Anurag in P5. What a drive. Powell, the Mercedes Junior, takes the Williams F1 Junior out front. Reno Francot in P1, a lap away from his maiden victory in the Euro Series. Powell goes on through. Frey now in the background. Great recovery, great drive in fact, from Enia Frey. The gap 3.3 seconds. Dit is de laatste ronde voor de piloot van the Netherlands in de eerste positie P1 for the driver from the Netherlands. On the last lap of the race, Frey dives down the inside of Bondarev. Positions 8 and 9. Bart Harrison, meanwhile, that is Enia Frey's teammate, has worked his way brilliantly, albeit off screen. The Englishman is into the top 10. Francot 3.8 seconds clear is Reno. one entry, one car here this weekend for the PHM racing team. Driven by the Dutchman, who gave up a professional footballing career, as we mentioned. Could have been lining up for PSV Eindhoven in the years ahead. Indeed, he might be lining up on the grid in the FIA Formula One World Championship in the years to come at nearby Monaco. He's in P1 on his way to victory down the Mistral Straight through the chicane for the final time. Gomez, Nakamura Berta, Weldon, Kabir, Anurag. What a drive into P5. Popov, Powell, Bondarev, and the first of the two Jensen Motorsport duo who round out the 10. Any afraid to Bart Harrison. The top of the Mistral for the final time. We will also race 93 kilometres again here this morning. This is the end of the 16th lap. Reno Frankot van the Netherlands, who lives literally within walking distance of the German border, in P1, the sole entrant for the German Paul Muller Racing Team, PHM, down the hill for the final time. An outstanding victory this will surely be. Although we remember James Wharton just a few years ago was in a similar spot. Hold on to it, Reno. He locks up the front left. Turns into La Pointe Virage for the final time. That checkered flag is about to wave. And for the first time, it's the Dutchman, Reno Frankot, who takes victory in the E4 Championship here at Paul Ricard. Frankot wins here at Le Castellet. Gomez across the line in second. Gabriel Gomez heads home. King Nakamura Berta, Weldon, Anurag, Popov, Powell. Bondarev is the top rookie. Any Affray. This should be Bart Harrison, the Englishman, in 77. Off screen, deserves credit though. He comes home P10. Kostic, Vissoriano, Salim Hanna is the second rookie from Ari Banchel. The driver from Bangalore in India, racing in the GB4 Series, 14th. And the third rookie, he's on the rookie podium, the Australian Dante Vinci, who's 15th outright. Frankot! Well, he certainly went with the banana. And our Dutch-speaking fans know exactly what that means. Gaan met die banaan. Apologies for the accent in advance. It makes no sense in English. It literally means go with the banana. In simple terms, go boy, go. He certainly did. Frankot van the Netherlands takes victory in the second of three races here this weekend. The E4 Championship on a sultry Sunday morning here in the south of France on the French Riviera. Frankot has won with a brilliant drive in the end. The gap was over 4 seconds. There's Bondarev just behind in 27, the top rookie. The Williams F1 Junior. But the morning belongs to Reno Frankot. And the PHM team, of course. Frankot takes victory in the second race of the weekend. Gomez, victory yesterday in P2 here this morning. Nakamura Berta, P2 yesterday and P3 here this morning. Weldon, Anurag, what a drive for the Singaporean into P5. Popov, Powell, Bondarev is the top rookie. The Jensen Motorsport duo round out the 10. Frey and England's Bart Harrison. Kostic, Luca Vissoriano for the Real Racing Team, the Romanian driver in 11. Comes home in P12, car 11 that is. Salim Hanna is the second rookie. Ari Banchel and Dante Vinci, the third rookie home. Ahead of Savinkov, Bader Al-Sulati, the Qatari, Teo Schropp, Ruta, Michelini, Emily Cotti, Abdullah Kamel from Saudi, Peyton Westcott, the Californian, Bennett Gaspar, Ginevra Panzeri, Rodriguez, also from the United States, Newman Chi, Ludovico Busso, and Guy Albag, the three retirements from another clean 16-lap, 93-kilometre race here this morning. The sun comes out to shine finally after some humid cloud cover here this morning. Reno Frankot in 69, drives back into pit lane in P1. He takes victory in the second of three races here this weekend. What a performance also by the PHM team. Of course, David Cosma-Christopher, his young Romanian rookie teammate, not here this weekend. He is competing in the Italian Championship, following up DCC's pole position at Vallelunga in the Italian Series, but this is victory in the Euro Series. Reno Frankot in der ersten Position, the winner here this morning. Well done, buddy. He deserved that. His father, Ferdinand, also a handy footballer himself. Davide, che bravo. Mechanic engineer. Camilla, team manager to the left. Brava anche. Gomez, race winner yesterday and second here this morning for the South American. For the US racing team. Nice to see that Anna for US Racing has managed to recycle the Paul Ricard hat that she picked up here at the circuit back in 2022, I think it was. €20 that cost her. She's getting her value out of it. Mr. Andrea Arienti of Monza Informa. Luigi Palumbo, WSK Promotion. This is the rookie race winner. Alexander Bondarev. As Ken Nakamura disappears up to the podium, where he will stand on the third step in just a moment. The race winner, Reno Francot, here at Le Castellet, Circuit Paul Ricard. The highlights of race 2 here this morning. Nakamura from pole position, Reno Francot darting off the line, but Gomez from third into position 2. Split both the Japanese and Dutch drivers. Nakamura, no mistake. Off the line went P1 as the 29 drivers raced down the hill cleanly, thankfully, for the first of 16 times here this morning. Savinkov on the inside. The second Ukrainian. This was the first Ukrainian, Alexander Bondarev. Fighting with Alex Powell. Newman Chi with damage to the front wing had to pull into pit lane and ultimately retire. Fabulous fight for the lead between Gomez and Nakamura. He tried it, and the South American was almost through, particularly at this scary moment for Ken Nakamura. Reno Francot was watching this and coming on strong. He went down the inside. Gomez covered him off. That gave Nakamura a little bit of breathing space, but Francot fired it on through to go position 2 and then range up on the outside of Ken Nakamura, whose rear Pirelli tyres were screaming enough. And the Dutchman for the PHM racing team takes victory here at Le Castellet here this morning. We wait for Keen, Gabriel and Reno to come out onto this famous podium here at Paul Ricard. Don't forget, this is just the second of 3 races, the first of 3 rounds, the E4 Challenge Series 2025. The third and final race at 5:30 this afternoon. And you can catch all that action right here from the former home of the French Formula One Grand Prix. Sadly, that's not the case anymore. Imagine if it does come back to the south of France and we use the full 1.8 kilometre Mistral straight. So finally we have a European victory here in the E4 Championship. Nakamura from Japan in P3. Gomez from Brazil in P2. And Francot van the Netherlands is the race winner.
In third place, à la 3e place, le japonais Ken Nakamura Berta.
Oui, et voilà, 3e place, as you heard, for Ken Nakamura. Oh, menudo do Sao Paulo. Gabriel Gomez having a strong weekend for the US racing team. Race victory yesterday and P2 here this morning. Don't forget, he starts at pole position for the third final race at 5:30 this afternoon. Reno Francot van the Netherlands takes victory at Le Castellet here this morning. Finally, a European race winner.
PHM Racing. Les trophées vont être remis par Raphaël.
Once again, Mr. Raffaele Gianmaria representing the Automobile Club of Italia. Highly respected, highly distinguished, and a great racing driver himself. Presents the trophies. Third place to Keen, second to Gabriel. And the PHM team with their race winner, Reno Francot.
And now for the winner, Dutch Anthem, l'hymne néerlandais. Merci.
Reno Francot van the Netherlands breaks through for victory here this morning. Gabriel Gomez finishes P2, but the Brazilian starts on pole position for race 3 at 5:30 this afternoon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.